Ernest Borgnine was not merely an actor. He was a living paradox of Hollywood, a face shaped by labor, discipline, and sweat, yet capable of reaching the most fragile corners of human emotion. He did not rely on charm or polished glamour. He arrived on screen like a piece of real life, heavy, abrasive, impossible to ignore. A man who could embody terrifying brutality and, in the next breath, reveal loneliness, vulnerability, and an aching desire to be loved. From impoverished stages where actors were paid in meals to the heights of the Academy Awards, Borgnine did not rise as a manufactured star. He climbed as a craftsman, moving against the grain. His talent was forged through lived experience, military discipline, and years of being told he did not look like a leading man. He earned recognition without ever truly belonging to the glamorous world that granted it. Fame followed, awards accumulated, and roles etched themselves into film history. Yet beneath that hardened exterior lived contradiction, conflict, and an unwavering refusal to compromise. Those principles were formed long before Hollywood ever entered his imagination. He was born on January 24, 1917, in Hamden, Connecticut, under the name Ernest Borgnine. He was the only son of Camillo Borgnine, an Italian immigrant craftsman, and Anna Baselli, who carried her homeland and its language with her across the Atlantic. Their life was firmly working class, shaped by manual labor, discipline, and restraint. When Ernest was just 2 years old, his parents separated. There was no scandal, only a quiet fracture that removed any illusion of stability. His mother returned with him to Italy, where they spent 5 formative years in a small town near Modena. There, he lived entirely as an Italian child, speaking the language fluently, absorbing customs, and belonging to a place that was not technically his own. That early sense of displacement never left him. In 1923, the family reunited and returned to America. With that return came reinvention. His father anglicized his name to Charles, and the family shortened Borgnine to Borgnine, a common step for immigrant families seeking acceptance. Ernest had to relearn English, relearn identity, and wear a new name as though it had always been his. The change was not explained. It simply happened, teaching him early that survival sometimes requires adaptation rather than choice. He showed no interest in acting as a boy. No drama clubs, no theatrical ambition. What grounded him was sport, physicality, competition, and discipline. In a childhood marked by change and uncertainty, structure became safety. At 18, in October 1935, Borgnine enlisted in the U.S. Navy. Not out of romantic patriotism, but for order. He served aboard the USS Lamberton, where life was governed by watches, precision, and collective responsibility. Those years taught him how to listen, observe, and value the group over ego. After a brief discharge in 1941, Pearl Harbor changed everything. Borgnine re-enlisted in January 1942 and served aboard the USS Sylph, conducting anti-submarine patrols in the Atlantic. It was tense, monotonous, dangerous work. He rose to gunner's mate first class and left the service in 1945 with medals, and with a permanent contempt for arrogance and star behavior. He never forgot what it meant to rely on others for survival. Back home, he returned briefly to factory work, but the routine suffocated him. It was his mother who casually suggested acting, not as art, but as something he might try. He enrolled in drama school, then joined the Barter Theatre in Virginia, where actors were paid in food. By day, he painted sets and cleaned toilets. By night, he performed. Once, mid-performance, he chased a live chicken through the audience, learning instinctively how to turn chaos into connection. Stage work led to Broadway, then to live television in the early 1950s, where mistakes were fatal and timing was everything. Hollywood noticed his rough face and cast him as thugs and heavies, unsure what else to do with him. That uncertainty crystallized in 1953 with From Here to Eternity. As Sergeant Fatso Judson, Borgnine delivered a performance so chilling it blurred fiction and reality. He isolated himself during filming, staying tense and emotionally cut off. The violence haunted him. Nightmares followed. Audiences sent hate mail. Even Frank Sinatra kept his distance after filming their infamous scene. The role made Borgnine famous, and trap him. Then came Marty in 1955. A modest film, no glamour, no spectacle. Borgnine played an ordinary butcher longing for love, and something extraordinary happened. The performance was unadorned, vulnerable, painfully human. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor, defeating James Dean and Spencer Tracy. Hollywood was stunned. But Borgnine refused to settle. He deliberately avoided repeating himself. He chose difficult, abrasive roles, the Dirty Dozen, the Wild Bunch, roles that demanded physical risk and emotional darkness. He performed his own stunts well into middle age, guided by a Navy belief: never ask others to take risks you won't take yourself. Television, which he once dismissed, eventually pulled him back into the public heart through McHale's Navy. Borgnine infused comedy with lived military truth. Even a serious on-set explosion that burned his hands and face did not slow him. Discipline carried him forward. In later years, he reinvented himself again, voicing Mermaid Man on SpongeBob SquarePants, embracing self-parody with joy and humility. He recorded until weeks before his death. His personal life was far more turbulent. Multiple marriages failed under the weight of ambition, absence, and clashing egos, including a famously brief and explosive marriage to Ethel Merman. Only later, with Tova Borgnine, did he find lasting balance. She walked beside him without competing with him, holding steady as age and illness closed in. Ernest Borgnine died on July 8, 2012, at the age of 95, of kidney failure. He did not leave quietly in legacy. He left loudly in presence. Across film, television, and animation, he proved that humanity matters more than beauty, that discipline outlasts fame, and that truth on screen requires courage of it. He never tried to be a legend. He simply refused to compromise. And that, more than any award, is why he is remembered.